What if there was a way that you could sell some of your stale eBay inventory that has been sitting in your store for months to a year or more, maybe even years it's been sitting there, and not only sell it, but sell it for even more money than you currently have listed? Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. I could actually show you a few examples in which I have successfully pulled this off over the last few weeks, and hopefully you can too. Now, this is based off of a prior video that I did. Many of you saw it, has almost 20,000 views at this point. I'll link to it at the end, but it's the video in which I talk about the funny way to sell some of your stale eBay inventory. And in that video, the basic concept was you were taking items that were at the lowest possible price point that you could sell it for. You turned off best offer, and it's just been inventory that's been sitting there for a long time, and you can't send offers out on it because it's already at the lowest point. So what we talked about in that video, I gave the example of $9.99 items, but you customize whatever I'm telling you to whatever your lowest price point is. But we took those $9.99 items, and then I increased the price to $14.99, and then sent out offers on those items for $9.99. So the price that they were already watching it on. And a portion of those people that I sent the offers out to bought the items. I showed, I think, 5 examples just in that video, and there were more. Now, the great thing about it is that there were so many people that wrote in the YouTube comments and in my Facebook group where I posted it that said they got sales within minutes of trying it, within hours of trying it. There's one person, Matt, who's watching this, who made $300 in sales just by trying out this technique. Now, I can't guarantee that it's going to work for everybody, and there were a few people who wrote in that said that it didn't work for them. So, of course, there's never any guarantee. It depends on what items you have and what you're selling and how many people you're sending out these offers to, of course. But there's been so much success with it that there were additional follow-up questions that came up in terms of what to do afterwards. And I gave my thoughts at the time, but now I want to follow up in terms of what are the next steps since there's been several weeks afterwards that have passed. So let's take the example of the $9.99 item that you then bump up to a higher price. So, my example would be $14.99. So when I did that, I did not turn on best offer. I suggest just keeping best offer off. Let it sit there at whatever that price is. So now for you, for example, if $9.99 sounds too low and your lowest price item is $19.99, then increase the price to $24.99 or $29.99, whatever the case may be. Just, use whatever you're comfortable with. But turn off best offer. That's my suggestion for this approach. So what happened is that I kept the items up at $14.99. And then when a week went by, if it didn't sell, I just lowered the price down to $13.99. So I took $1 off. And you can adjust it however you want to. I suggest waiting a week. Now, if anyone, by the way, happened to come in as a new watcher, all right, I would just send out an offer to that person for $9.99, and they're a new person coming in. So, they weren't ones that got that initial batch who resisted the technique, but there was a portion of those people who came in who bought the item for $9.99. But in those instances, those people are buying the stale inventory for the price that you already had it set at its lowest price. But what about the possibility that people will come in and buy it for an even higher price, the price that you currently set it at? Can that possibly happen? Well, I have several examples here showing that actually can happen. So let me share my screen with you. The first item that this actually happened with was the Mickey Mantle 8x10 photo. Now, I had this up for $9.99 for quite a while, and then what happened was I increased the price to $14.99. I sent out the offers. No one bid on it. However, within about a week, somebody else just came in, saw it, and bought it for $13.99. Now, I said, as soon as that happened, I said, well, I'll be darned. I'm like, I would have had that item sitting at $9.99. I'm going to explain to you why I think this actually works in a moment. So there was that one. Now, this card, I had this card in my eBay store for probably about a year. And same thing, I increased the price to $14.99. I sent out the offers. No one bid on this particular one. I'm saying bit, not bid, B-I-T. And but a week afterwards, I lowered it to $13.99, and someone came in and bought it. And I was like, wow. Now, yeah, you could say it's getting closer to New Year's. Maybe it's a few months down the road. Would someone have come in and bought it for $9.99 anyway? I doubt it. It's possible. I can't tell you no, but I doubt it. And I'll tell you why in a few moments. Now, here's the next one. Those of you who are watching me doing more vlogging type of videos over the summertime might remember when I laid this poster out in the summertime, and it was sitting there in my store for $9.99. I upped the price to $14.99. And there you could see this one just sold. It went out, I think, like 2 days ago. And so there you go. 3 items that were just languishing, sitting around, and now they're going, and they're selling for a higher price, $13.99 to $14.99 on those items. Now, why is that happening? I think the reason that it's happening, and this is the problem with having stale inventory that is just sitting there. The problem with it is that it's stale. There's no movement. There's absolutely no activity. And from what people have been able to piece together about eBay's algorithm, and there are a lot of myths about the algorithm, but one thing that I think is definitely a safe assumption about it, just based on how they treat new items that are listed. They like things that have activity to it. They like things that seem fresh. They like things in which there's something going on with it that's different. So even just doing something like changing the price could really make a difference. Now, usually what we're doing is we're lowering the price because we assume that, well, we had it up for this price, no one's buying it, so we have to drop it down a bit. The problem, again, comes to when you keep dropping, and you get to that basement point, that lowest possible point where you can't go any lower, or you're not going to, make any kind of comfortable profit or anything like that. It's really just going to be a waste of your time or a wash, or maybe, you really don't want it to be a loss, but, possibly it could even be a situation like that. So you just kind of feel stuck, and it's one of the most frustrating situations to be in with items, especially ones that you think are good and that had a track record of selling before you even listed it. So from eBay's perspective, they're not giving that item any kind of priority. They're not giving it preference in terms of serving it. They're trying to serve items up to people when they're doing searches that they think have a higher chance of selling. And if they see something that's just been sitting around with no activity, they don't give it preference. When you start moving things around with it, including the price and including even if the price goes up instead of down, that still counts as something good in eBay's eyes, and it gives the item some freshness to it. So I would like people to, especially if you've started the technique that I mentioned in that prior video, stick with this. It might take you a week, it might take you a couple of weeks, but eventually you should sell a portion of those items for a higher price than what you initially started out with. So don't just bump it up like in my example. Don't just go up to $14.99 and then just drop it back down to $9.99 again if it doesn't sell after a week. Just gradually lower it a little bit. You up it, then you lower it. In the case of the Van Helsing poster, I didn't even have to lower it. It just sold for the $14.99. And, you could experiment with going even higher than that. If you want to, you take a chance and go up to $19.99 from a $9.99. It depends on the item, and it depends on the market. It depends where you initially started with. Maybe it was an item that you initially started at around $20 and it went down to $10. So yeah, if you want to, but up it even higher. You just have to be willing to be a little bit more patient with that. So that is the main tip, and I think it's important because I think it's something that a lot of people don't really consider doing, is hiring the price and thinking about the logic in terms of why that may work. It just is basically a way of recycling your item and getting it fresh again. Now, what some people do is they will, to get some of that freshness back into their item, is they will end their listing and then they will start it again so their item looks brand new. Now, that can work in some instances. The downside of it, though, is that you lose for a period of time. You're going to lose what Google had encoded into their server for your item to serve up in search. And a lot of items come to customers from doing a Google search. That's how they'll find it. So if you totally just end your item and relist it, it's got a new web address and everything like that with a new item link, then that could be problematic because it could take a little bit of time to get started. With this technique, you'll still retain everything that's in Google in terms of their search engine. It'll still serve the item up when people are searching, but you're just changing the price to bring that freshness in rather than ending it and just relisting it. So try it out, and over the next couple weeks, if you sell an item for more money than you originally had it at that flattest possible price, let me know. Let me know. I'd be very curious to see people commenting on this video and telling me that that's what happened. So that is really cool. And I'm hoping a lot of people have some success with it, and I hope that it brings you many sales. So speaking of sales, I sold today. Oh yeah, baby. You sold today, huh? What did you sell for? Why don't you tell everybody what you sell for? This is St. Francis, everybody. For those of you who don't know, he's a recurring character here on the channel. So he finally did sell. What'd you sell for? I sold for $2,450. You did not sell for $2,450. You sold for $2,450. That's $24.50. You knew that too. You're just saying that because you have this complex with St. Anthony that you're mad that he sold for $125, and now you sold for less than him. Yeah. You did. In fact, he sold for over $100 more than you. How do you like that? Yeah, well, he's not going to Miami like I am. I'm going to Miami. Will you stop with that? By the way, why do you always have those two birds on your hand? I don't understand what that's all about. Well, birds of a feather flock together. I know that, but that doesn't explain why you have the birds on your hand. It doesn't make sense. Well, one bird in a hand is worth two in a bush. What? Will you stop with the quotes already? Is there anything else you would like to say? Bid a final farewell to everybody out there. You always look like you're waving your hand anyway when you do that. So anything else you want to say to anybody? Yeah, I do want to say a special goodbye to Izzy. Who's Izzy? Well, Izzy is the daughter of Katie Reeds, who you had on your show about the books. Yeah, that was a good show. A lot of people watched that. Yeah, I really like her store, and I bought a couple Bibles from there. What do you mean you bought a couple Bibles? You don't have access to my account. Pink Panther gave it to me. What? I have to talk to him about this later. But yeah, I want to say goodbye to Izzy because she gets a big kick out of me and laughs, and it was good to put a smile on her face, and she shared me on Instagram and everything. So I'm IG famous, baby. All right, St. Francis. Listen, when you go down to Miami, just make sure that you wear a hat or something because you're going to look a little ridiculous if you get a sunburn around your hair like that around your head. All right, man. All right, take care. It's been good having you around, and I'm sure we'll have some other Saints pop in from time to time. All right. All right, later, everyone. Hey, listen, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hey, I'll do that part, all right? So anyway, everyone, I hope you had fun. I hope that this video makes you some more money. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, everyone. I'll see you at the next one. Take care. What am I going to do with you already? Jeez.